Lead poisoning is the most common environmental illness for children in California, and at the same time is completely preventable. Claudia Solis-Acala explains the dangers of lead and, of all things, candy, and how your family can take steps to ensure no one suffers the effects of lead poisoning.
Paint is cited as the main source for lead exposure in Tulare County. However, lead has also been found regularly in candy. Certain ingredients, such as chili powder and tamarind, are a major source of lead.
The candies and foods being imported, not just from Mexico, from all over. It's from India, from China, Thailand, just all over. There's just a gamut of countries that we get imported food or candies in that actually have lead in them and have caused lead poisoning in children.
2-year-old Ismael is one of the many children who have been exposed to lead through candy. In 2009, Ismael's mom asked his doctor to have him tested because she was worried about his blood lead levels.
And I was hearing that the candies that have chili powder supposedly had lead, and I would worry because I thought that my son would have that. I told the doctor to do a test on him or something, but they told me that it wasn't necessary and he was too small, that it wasn't necessary, that he was fine. And I kept on insisting until I told the doctor when my son was about a year and a month, to please test him for lead. And that was when they tested him, and that's how they told me that he did have a lot of lead.
Children under 6 years of age are at the highest risk for lead poisoning because their smaller growing bodies are more susceptible to absorbing and retaining lead, and because they tend to put their hands or other objects in their mouths.
The biggest risk is that for the first 10 micrograms of lead poisoning, that's how we measure it, as micrograms per deciliter, they lose 7.5 IQ points, and they will never recover those IQ points again. And then for every 10 milligrams above that they go, they lose another 2.5 IQ points. That can very easily shift a child who maybe is a lower IQ already down into developmental delay and affect their ability to learn.
1 microgram equals 100,000th of 1 gram. Lead is measured in such minute amounts because it is extremely toxic to the nerves and the rest of the body. The goal of the Tulare County Childhood Lead Poison Prevention Program is to educate and assist families.
It's a preventative program so that they can be tested to see if there is any lead poisoning in their blood.
The Childhood Lead Poison Prevention Program provides case management services with a public health nurse and a health aide who visit the home. Follow-up visits and testing continue every 3 months until the child's blood lead level is safe.
Well, they came to check my son, how his nutrition was doing, how was his behavior, more than anything, they were interested in how I was feeding him and in asking me questions about him.
In the 1990s, the California Childhood Lead Poison Prevention Program found that candy appeared to be associated with childhood lead exposure. Nurse practitioners discovered lead-based ink in candy wrappers.
I think it's not so much a new problem as it's a new awareness.
Well, I learned a lot because, to tell the truth, in my life, had I heard about lead or I didn't pay attention to lead at all, it wasn't until after I learned about my son's lead poisoning that I would hear about lead on the television, on the radio.
In 2004, lead was also found in the candy's ingredients, such as chili powder, contaminated during the drying and grinding processes.
So there's a multiple pronged problem with it where it just really, it's not just one little area, it gets through the whole process. And so you're playing Russian roulette when you eat those candies. You don't know, am I getting one that was processed the right way?
Neither the people selling the candies nor eating the candies can tell by the look or taste if it's contaminated. Symptoms can include irritability, fatigue, and a decreased appetite. It can progress to stomach pains and headaches. However, most kids don't show symptoms.
So it mimics a lot of flu and cold symptoms, so parents don't always know that it's not a cold or it's not a flu, that there's something else going on. It takes a blood test to determine if your child's been exposed.
The consequences can be life-threatening and can include chronic anemia, kidney and heart damage, coma, and even death.
Because of the damage that's been done, they lose some of that ability to learn and to reach their full potential.
Parents can take action by watching for recalls issued by your local public health department. Parents can also ask their pediatrician for a blood test.
Most of the insurances do not require that your child be tested for lead poisoning, and it's actually something that we have, the parent themselves need to be the advocate for the child and ask for it to be done.
Lincecum and the Childhood Lead Poison Prevention Program recommend parents ask to have their child tested at 1 and 2 years of age, but definitely before age 3. I'm Claudia Solis Alcala for 0 to 5 in 30 minutes.
Thanks, Claudia. And for more information on how to protect your family from lead poisoning, contact the Tulare County Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program at 559-687-6915. For Fresno County, call the Department of Public Health at 559-445-3590. You can also call the California Poison Action Line. The number is 800-222-1222.
This program funded in part by First 5 Fresno County. At First 5, we focus on the first 5 years of life. We fund programs and services that better the lives of children in Fresno County.
Additional funding from First 5 Tulare County, changing lives and building futures. Because it's all about the kids.